Good morning. Now here we are with Al Casanova from Keller Williams in Brigantine, New Jersey.
Perfect, yep.
You know, before I allow you to sit there, they mentioned that you're some sort of a comedian.
Yes.
And I was about to tell you, the reason you were having some difficulties climbing up on the chair. We make them uncomfortable intentionally because we don't want the people that I'm interviewing to get too comfy, okay?
I get it. It's a good idea.
So you're also a real estate professional with Keller Williams.
Yes, I've been doing real estate for 17 years. I've been doing stand-up for over 30.
Stand-up?
Yeah, stand-up comedy, yes.
So I'm going to give you full permission. We've been talking about real estate since yesterday.
Okay.
So I want you to entertain us a little bit.
Okay.
You know, so the floor is yours.
Oh, wow.
Make the best of it.
Mr. Castro's put me on the spot, but okay. You're impeccably dressed.
Thank you.
Right? We just had the big NAR ruling, whatever. So this must be a class action suit. Listen, class action suit. Come on, stick with me, George.
You're talking about, some of those jokes are okay, but some I don't even understand.
That's just for us.
Are you talking about the class action?
Yeah, the NAR.
Oh, the NAR.
Yeah, but that's why I noticed your attire. Is that custom made?
Yes, this one is custom made.
You can tell. It's beautiful. You look very well.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
The reason why I always dress like this is because I am sure that you will disagree with me, but this is not a business of polo shirts. This is a business of suits and ties.
I understand completely, and I agree completely. But the public, these TV shows that went on the air and these top $1 million producers would show up in a hoodie or sneakers or come to the house with a dog in their hand. I'm old school like you. First of all, you're impeccably dressed. He owns the company, so you reflect on your business too when you make that presentation of how you look. I agree 100%. I don't go on listing appointments with dungarees and sneakers and a hoodie. You get dressed professionally because I believe that the more professional you look, perception is everything, and they're more likely to do business with you if you're dressed like you are.
Thank you. And also, dress and walk and behave as if the person that you want to be,
No doubt.
Yeah.
A lot of agents, and this is my opinion,
yes,
are transactional agents. They go by, I did 100 deals or 120 deals. I'm more about how many relationships did I bond with this year to make me the successful realtor I am. I'm not to pat myself on the shoulder, but I'm one of the top producing agents here. And the reason being, people come to my house for dinner. I go to their bar mitzvahs. I mean, I'm invited to all these things.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you this.
Sure.
And that's probably one of the reasons why you are a successful real estate agent, because you understand that it's not about one transaction.
It's not.
It is about the relationship that I'm going to build with this particular buyer or seller.
100%.
To the point that at some point, and I'm going to tell you something that happened to me a few years back, they are going to say, you want to sell your house, you want to buy a house, I have someone that you should be doing business with, a real estate professional that I want you to do business with. I'm going to tell you this. I remember this transaction, I would say probably 7 years ago in Roselle Park. And it was a rocky relationship with the seller.
Okay.
We closed the transaction. The seller did not even want to shake my hand. And a few weeks later, I get a phone call from someone that this particular seller knew.
Okay.
A friend of her. She calls me, I go to the house, and I ask this new seller, how did you learn about me? She said, do you know Rose from down the block? And I said, Rose, of course, how could I forget her? She said that she hates your guts, but if I wanted to sell my house, I should be the guy to be speaking with. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a lesson learned, and if you want to get more listings, you got to have the clients hate your guts. That's basically what
At some point, I mean, you have to
That's
be
awesome.
honest.
No,
you
look,
have to tell the truth.
absolutely.
You have to tell people
Truth
what
trumps
they
everything.
need to hear, not what they want to hear.
That's exactly
and
right.
with this particular,
Good for you.
With this particular situation, I was very polite, very articulate, and she was, of course, the CEO of a company.
Knows everything.
You know, she was, and I was telling her this is the way it should be done, or this is what I suggest. She was always arguing with me. You don't tell me what I have to do.
Yep.
But to make the long story short, she hated my guts, but she was referring business
because
to
she
me.
knew how good you are. Well, that's important.
Exactly.
That's amazing. I mean, that's a really good story. Something you should be very proud of, because you took a situation and you didn't aggravate it. You didn't try to escalate it. You went with the punches, and here you got more business out of it. I mean, that's
now,
pretty commendable.
I'm going to tell you another one. I remember going to this listing appointment with one of my agents was in Florida. He called me and asked me, George, listen, I have this listing appointment that I have to go to. Obviously, I cannot go because I'm in Florida. Would you please go for me? And I said, of course. You know, I love doing this. I walk into the house, beautiful, beautiful house, $750,000. And one of the things that I noticed was that the seller intentionally and conspicuously spread around 20, 25 business cards of other real estate agents on the table. What do you think the seller wanted me to see? I'm talking to other people, right?
Of course.
Anytime that I see that, I like it, because then I could very quickly browse who I'm communicating with. I knew every single one of them, and I knew what I was up against. I was up against nothing. To make the long story short, I was able to successfully make the seller understand it is in your benefit to pay 6% commission. You know, commissions are negotiable.
Sure.
But I was able to persuade this particular seller to pay 6% commission by making the seller understand that it was in the seller's benefit to pay a higher commission to be able to attract,
of course,
cooperating brokers who saw a half of the 6% commission as an incentive. The seller looks at the husband who was sitting with me at the kitchen table, look at his wife who was sitting, leaning against the kitchen counter, and tells the wife, honey, I think we got ourselves a realtor. The wife's answer was, yeah, but he's charging 6%, while other people are charging 5 and 4%. And I said, no, I'm not charging anything. As far as I am concerned, you could pay me 1% if you think that with 1% you could get your property sold. But I don't think anyone is going to be able to get you the money that I can. And I got the listing, and the listing sold, and they were very happy. They also refer me a lot of business. You know, the relationships that you're talking about.
It's mucho importante, as we say in Italian too. You have to treat your clients as you're going to be with them for a long time. I have clients, I'm 17 years in the business, so now I have their kids coming to me. Their children, their aunts, their uncles, all their family. So I basically do a referral business, and 90% of my business is from past clients and referrals. I mean,
and you know, many of the shows that you were referring to, real estate agents that show houses with flip-flops and shorts. I mean, that's a show.
Yes.
Don't you agree with me?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, again, it's how you look. And we had a conversation similar but different, if I'm allowed to bring that up, about the new consumer. You got to sign the buyer-broker agreement, and a lot of agents are afraid to present that because they think the customer client is not going to sign it. And I found out just the opposite, because I would explain it to them, and I would say, you know, when you hire a attorney, you have to pay them $2,500 or $3,500 up front as a retainer to retain their services, because they're going to work on your behalf and have a fiduciary duty to you to service you. They felt that that was an elevated position by viewing a realtor as somebody that's really on a professional level, and I want to pay them because they're going to be doing the best thing for me in the transaction. And I've gotten not only buyer-broker agreement signed, but listings from that particular client. So I just signed your agreement at 7 o'clock this morning. By the way, I got a house to sell because it made me look more professional and elevated, and for me, it's been a good thing.
Do you know the purpose for which we have to get the client to sign that agreement before engaging in a relationship with the client?
It's a great question. From my understanding, because of the new laws that were enacted in every state, we are required to have that signed so they understand our duties to them and also the commission component.
Our duties to them.
Yes.
Our duties. And I'm going to tell you why I'm asking that question. You know, sometimes many real estate agents are at an open house and they are asking the client, did you sign a buyer's agreement with someone else? Why? Why are they asking that question?
It's a good question. They probably want to know if they signed an agreement so they don't want to work with them or not allowed to work with them.
Who said that they're not allowed to work with a client that already signed a buyer agreement with someone else?
Well, that's the perception. Nobody told them that.
That is the perception.
Correct.
You know? Do you think that I can legally, as a real estate agent, tie you up into a relationship with me when I'm not even available to show you houses?
No.
Exactly. But I think some real estate agents are taking this agreement to another level, asking buyers, sign here, go find the house, go to open houses, but when you find the house, you have to come to me.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No, it's not.
No, it is not right.
No. And there's a class here, seminar on the procuring cause. I'm sure they cover stuff like that too, because that agent that made them sign that contract and they went to the house on their own, they're not the procuring clause.
They're not the procuring.
And they're not going to win in any kind of litigation or arbitration either.
No.
No.
And it is amazing. I've been speaking about this.
Good for you.
Since the whole National Association of Realtors settlement was settled, and the requirement for real estate agents to ask buyers or sellers, you have to sign this agreement. The agreement outlines also certain responsibilities of the real estate agent that create reciprocity.
Absolutely.
And these real estate agents are manipulating or taking out of context that agreement. Sign here, and by the way, you cannot buy a house with anyone else but me.
I know. That's another lawsuit.
That is
You're right.
That is another lawsuit in the brewing.
Can't be doing that. I actually do a 30-second video to buyers or sellers that I haven't met yet, explaining briefly what this entails, and then I have them call me and explain it more in detail. I found out the video presentation is much more powerful than trying to translate it over the phone or sending them the document to look at. Face-to-face video, tell them what it is, call me with any questions. So, all good.
Now, I really appreciate this conversation, and mainly the last segment of the conversation, because it is important for the real estate industry. The real estate industry to understand you cannot ask someone sign here and then wake up at 1 p.m. every Saturday or Sunday and have your seller looking at houses, going to open houses, someone else is the procuring cost, and then
you want to get a check.
You want to get a check.
Not happening.
It's not happening.
Not happening.
I appreciate that very much. Listen, it was a pleasure.
You are amazing. I'm so glad I met you. You're very articulate, very knowledgeable. This is a value-packed podcast. I'm sure some of the people are going to learn some stuff. I certainly did. and I appreciate you for sharing your knowledge with me. That was awesome, George.
No, and thank you very much for agreeing to be interviewed.
It was great. I appreciate it very much. I'm sure you got other guests that are waiting to come on. It's great seeing
Thank
you.
you.